Okay, this video is about why I think critical theory has caught on the way it has. Now, I'm 56 years old, and when I was growing up, my generation really was the first to hear about how the people who had protested for civil rights were heroes, because that had just recently happened. And we were taught, well, these people fought for what was right. Just like the people in the Revolutionary War, in World War II, they had fought for what was right. They were considered heroes. There was also the women's movement, where people were, protesting for women's rights. Well, it was women's lib back then. That's what it was called. And, we wanted a chance to work outside the home equally as men. And it really wasn't like it is now. It was a lot more difficult back then. And those people were considered to be heroes. There were people protesting against the Vietnam War, and a lot of those were like younger people as well. And a lot of people, saw them as heroes. People, wanted to protest the war. To this day, I know people my own age who have said, well, back during the Gulf War, when a lot of people didn't like it, I wanted to protest it, even though I thought we were doing the right thing, because I've always wanted to protest war. It was the whole protesters as heroes idea that we had grown up with. And it was something that we had seen as a good thing and helpful to society. Now, we raised our children to believe this. Our children, the millennials, they were basically taught by their parents, by everyone, that protesting for social change, it's necessary, it's good, you've got to do it. And that's right, you should do it. But the thing is, those things which had been focused on whenever I was young, civil rights, women's rights, that had been achieved. And people were wanting to protest for civil rights and for women's rights, but there really wasn't any huge discrepancy like there was back in the day. And so when critical theory was being taught in the schools, what I believe happened was, the reason it caught on the way it did, the millennials were in school, and they had always had this urge to go out and do something like that if the opportunity ever arose, because there really wasn't an opportunity. And critical theory gave them a chance to start looking for things, and looking for inequalities, and looking for reasons to go out and be the kind of heroes that they were taught about in school, that their parents looked up to, that, that they'd grown up thinking, being taught about. And now that they have the chance to do that, to go out and protest and make change, that kind of may be more important to them in a way, more emotionally important anyway, than really looking at what they're protesting and really analyzing what's up to see if it's something that they need to go out and protest about. And just carry on about, because when people were protesting, let's take the women's movement, as it was called back then, feminism. There would be women protesting because in the newspaper where the want ads were. A long time ago, there used to be two sections, men and women. That's how you got your job. You looked in the newspaper, and if they were wanting to hire a man for certain jobs, it would be under men, and women under the women's listing, and that was going to be like secretaries, babysitters, seamstresses, teachers, nurses, and men would be like office managers and that kind of thing. So women's jobs were seen as just one certain category, and men's jobs as another certain category. And we could do most of the same jobs that men can do. Yes, physical strength is going to pose a problem for some of them, but that's not the way it was separated in the past. So women, and some men would go out and protest and say, look, a woman can be the manager of this store. A woman can run this company. Give us a chance. Our brains are as strong as yours. So they'd go out and protest for a chance to show that, yes, we can do that. And yes, we can do those jobs. Obviously, we do them now. But today, what people are getting upset about and just carrying on about, which critical theory I think really encourages, is like, don't look at me. Why is the air conditioning so high? It's sexist to have the air conditioning so high. No, it's not. That's the kind of thing that critical theory allows you to embrace. Everything is sexist. Everything is racist. It's all unequal. And that's really not true. But if you grew up believing that you've got to find something to fight for, you've got to fight for what's right, and eventually there will be something that you need to fight for, and you better be able to get out there and do it and show that you're a good person, you will really grow up looking for something to oppose. And if you don't have something serious to oppose, you're just going to start opposing bullshit, basically. You're going to make a huge deal out of something that could be solved by just saying, oh, don't do that. And then the person doesn't do that around you anymore, and you're fine. It's not. Anyway, I hope I explained it halfway decent. If not, just comment and let me know, and I will try to do this again. I've been meaning to write it down and read it, but I didn't do that. I'm driving back home, and I said, well, I'll do it right now. So there you go. That is my view of why critical theory has caught on the way it did. They just wanted to protest because I kind of grew up wanting to protest too. I've never protested really anything. I've never really had anything to protest. So there we go. Let me know what you think.